Hey everybody, I'm Yvonne Williams with Back to Earth Creations, and in this video, I'm gonna stumble around a little bit trying to put these pauldrons together. For those of y'all who've been keeping up with my cosplay, building a cosplay series, this is how it's coming along, which I feel pretty good about the costume's evolution. And I'm trying really hard to get her ready for Tokyo and Tulsa. Each time that I compete, I try to have something new on the outfit. That way it's not just me going around in the same outfit to different conventions. And so at this convention, I'm at least going to debut the new pauldrons. I'd like to be able to have the pauldrons and the headdress because that would be amazing. But I also have to make inventory and fill orders and like a million other things that I am not good at juggling. So thank you for your patience so much. I could not do what I'm doing if y'all weren't so patient with me. So what we have going on here is in my last couple of videos concerning cosplay and this costume in particular, I have been working on the shoulders and the chest piece and the back piece. So all this stuff is kind of coming together a little bit. This is kind of how stuff's going to be sitting. So this is actually going to be the left shoulder, and this is going to be the right shoulder. Now, I have a bunch of different straps that I've started cutting out, and these are the buckles that I'm going to be using. I figure it's going to have a buckle kind of like here on each shoulder for adjustability, one in the front, one in the back, and then it's going to have a buckle under the arm. That way the pauldron will kind of move with me, is the idea, and it'll help it keep its rounded shape. There'll be links down in the video description where you can buy your own buckles. I have some thinner pieces. All the leather that I use is vegetable tanned. So I have some really thin, like maybe like 3 or 4 ounce, so not really thin, but I could use thinner, but it's not as thick as what I'm using for some of the other stuff. Leather for the straps. That kind of, the way that the pauldron is going to be built, it has like straps that connect it, if that makes sense, you know, on the underside. But first things first, I'm going to pick out the prettiest ones of the two. This one's prettier than this one, so that one's going to go yeah, like this, the prettier one up top, I think. So, and it's just which one has more of a gleam to it, has less mistakes. Because a lot of folks, like, for those of y'all who are creators out there, you know that you can look at your own work and see where you messed up, whereas someone else might look at it and not see anything. But you were there for every second of that piece's creation. You know where you messed up. So it's not me being overly critical, it's just me being real of my own work. Because it's like, you know, like this one, that little bit of overlap there on the line drives me crazy. And it's less than perfect, but not something to warrant remaking the whole thing out of, you know, over again. So it gives it the evolution, it makes it its own. And I'm going to dig out, I have some rivets and things here. They come in little bags. I'll try to have links to all the different materials that I'm using down in the video description. But I think I'm going to just be using a nice medium rivet. You know, that's about 3/8 of an inch long. And, well, I had some shiny silver caps, but I guess I'll have to dig through my other stuff and see. I've got a whole bin So I'm going to be right back to get those things. Of course, I'm not prepared. So y'all can just look at the workspace for a little bit. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry for the wait. So I am back. In here I have some containers, like little baggies of, see, these are large rapid rivets. So the stems are a little bit longer, but they're in the nickel plate color. So it's the nice bright shiny silver that I like, that I'm using with this outfit. Because, and I love it when the rivets come bagged separately from the stems and the caps. So I'm going to be using the bright silver caps, but then I'm going to come through and it's like, you don't feel like you have to use the same color of cap as you do base. Oh, I had a whole bunch of them right here. Dirt. Okay. So I'm just going to dig some of these guys out of the container. There's no telling yet how many I'm going to use. Normally I use a little magnet to kind of just dip in here and grab what I need and then pull it off the magnet. It keeps them from jumping all over my work surface too, but I recently rearranged my my workspace for leather working, and lost all my magnets. So, well, they're not lost. They're like somewhere in the house, I think. They might have vanished from the material realm altogether, but so I've never made pauldrons like this before, by the way, you guys. So let me dig out my rivet setter, which again I've rearranged everything, so I have no idea where it is. There we go. So this is a rivet setter. It has a flat end that you hit the hammer with, and it has a concave end that you set over the cap of the rivet. And I'm going to be shuffling things around just a little bit more. So here we have a granite slab. I put down a poly mat, like a rubber mat, and then my granite slab. I find that this rubber mat helps absorb some of the shock and really helps muffle the sound because this stuff gets loud. I'm also going to be using a hole punch, probably in the rubbed off size. It looks like 3/32. But you want to make a hole that's big enough for your rivet to fit through is really all we're going for here. So now the idea is I'm going to be mounting this bottom part that's coming down. I want this to sit on that, like, comfortably. So I'm going to go through with a tool called a wing divider. It's just this. You can turn this knob and adjust the width between the tines. And I want my rivets to be 1 inch apart. So I'm using my cutting mat here, the ruler on it. So we've got it set at 1 inch. And then I'm going to come around and I'm going to start, you know, where does that even go? Because I need it to make sure that it comes into contact with the leather base. So that by itself, you can see they don't particularly line up, blah, 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 particularly line up on the underside. So punching the holes, you know, an inch apart on each side over here and then attaching it to the base is going to force a nice rounded shape. That is a good thing. So I'm just starting at a point and trying to capture as much as I can on video for you guys so that you can see at home for if you're working on your own piece. And I'm just following around, you know, the edge here. Okay. And it looks like I'm going to want the point to line up with this one. So I'm going to count, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So from this, throw it on the ground. From the point here, I'm going to measure out, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then coming up this side, I had already started to mark. You can see there's a bunch of little dots from where I was going to have runes, but I decided not to do that. So I'm going to have to make sure to mark really well which ones are the actual proper holes to use. So I'm marking it and then making it into a dash, if you can see how that's happening there. And I've lost count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go. Let me dig this one up off the ground. Let me see if I can do it with just my toes. Ow, cramping my foot. This is the extent of my laziness, you guys, as I refuse to... Ah, I got it! Haha! Take that, chick from The Walking Dead who can't pick up pliers with her feet. Sorry. Okay, so now we have our hole punch. We have a rawhide mallet. And we place the hole punch. And we whack it with the mallet. Now, since these are going to have rivets through them, I don't have to worry at all about making sure that there's dye inside the holes. I'm going to be really careful over here to make sure I don't line up on the wrong hole. Ah, almost did it on the wrong one. Caught myself before I did, though. Okay. So there's all the holes punched for riveting together. And now I'm going to work over here. You want to make sure that you get a nice clear, like this one needs repunched because you can see there's something blocking the way. Last two. Also, always make sure to cut on your cutting board, otherwise you'll ruin the tips of your punches, and that's no bueno. It's no bueno. Okay, speaking of cutting boards, I'm going to set that off to the side. Now we just have our solid granite, and we get to actually start putting stuff together, y'all. So exciting. Okay, so I'm going to feed the rivets up through from behind, like that. And these are just, they're called rapid rivets, so they have a kind of less finished look on the underside, but they are significantly less expensive than the completed rivets that have a nice, like, rounded look on each side. And honestly, I don't mind the look of them at all. But just use whatever your preference is. And I could have gone a hole up on my hole punch. Like if you wanted to use a 1/8 inch hole punch as opposed to 3/32, then your rivets would still go through. They just wouldn't sit as snugly, because like this one I can move it around like this and they're not falling out. So that's why I choose the hole punch that I do. But sometimes if you want a little bit of wiggle room to be able to like get two holes to line up that aren't exactly lined up, you can punch both of them a little bigger and they'll kind of like fit through a little better. But that's something that I was really pleased right from the get-go, that I had access to a complete hole punch kit, because it had all the sizes. Okay, so now all the rivets are set. I'm going to come in and I'm just going to start lining some of them up, as many as I can, until it starts getting to like weird, get on there, like where this keeps being straight and this no longer is. You know, honestly, now that I'm looking at it, I should probably start with the center. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this one and this one are most important to me to line up. There we go. And now I'm going to take one of my rivet caps and just set it right over this rivet and search for, there it is, for my rivet setter. Position the concave side over the convex rivet and just whack the crap out of it. So now you can take it and start lining up some of the other holes. It's the same concept I use in my leather corset making tutorial, that so long as the holes line up, it'll force everything into its shape, and that's why I use the wing divider. I hope that made sense. Sometimes I just say words, they make sense in my head, but then they come out and it's like, what did I just say? So, sorry for my babbling, rambling babbles. There we go. And I could have done a lower density, but I really like the armory look of that, and especially like whenever you're up on stage, if you're competing or doing like a photo shoot or something, the way that these silver rivets flash light off, it's another layer of details. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, that's where the magic happens, is in those details. So now we're gonna have to start forcing stuff around. But we can do it. Get in there, you little bugger. If you get some odd puckering and stuff, just roll with it. This is what happens. Beep. Okay, so I'm bringing the edge of my block off the table, actually, to give me a little bit of room. I lost it. Where did it go? There it is. It's going further. There we go. Nice solid connection. And now, after that one weird pucker, everything else kind of starts falling into place a little better. Maybe. Or you can pretend that it does. I'm going to keep trying to feed this around. But yeah, once we go get the point around that curve, everything just kind of lays and stays where it's supposed to be. They also, Tandy Leather has some really nice textured rivets on the market now. So if you don't want smooth and shiny, you can get, like, they've got like hammered caps and just all sorts of stuff. It's really fun late at night to sit down with a cup of tea and kind of browse through their website and just see what's out there. Ah! Randy! Look at... I feel like Shredder or something. Because check it, the way that whenever it's going to be curved... So happy. Okay. Oh my god, you guys. I was so worried this was gonna just explode or turn into a pile of like rotting garbage or something. Like, I don't know why I was having extreme anxiety about this piece, and I was like, oh my god, it's gonna be horrible forever. But it's working! It's alive! Okay. Get some coffee in me. Let's move on to the next piece. Because that's, I don't know, I've worked so much on like smaller pieces that now actually putting it together, like this is the moment of truth almost, where it's like, will this be garbage? I don't know. Because if this doesn't work, I don't know what I'm going to do, you guys. Now, an option, ooh, gosh, that does look good. Because I could make a whole plate like this. Okay. Okay, everybody, let's consider our options. I had initially planned to have the little straps connected so that there's a little bit of movement and it sits almost like this. Like where this one's right here and then this one's like right there. Kind of like sitting like that. But lining this up on it is really making me think if I just riveted those together and then, see, that's really gonna limit. I mean, it looks super cool. I love that, but I'm not gonna have the mobility. I don't remember it's completely curved. If I just had it sit like, and then join it. Hey Randy, can you help me make a decision? And I know we've talked about it, but I've slept since then.
What's up?
Okay. This looks super cool. I kind of almost want that for thigh armor. And that's probably honestly what this would work better as. But I was thinking if I did it like this, I mean, yeah. But doesn't that look cool though?
So flip the top one.
Does it look cool?
It does.
That's just what I wanted to hear. Okay. So, because with these ones, it would have a little leather strap connecting them. So it would be a little bit more articulated. Can you come help me? If you just hold it curved like this, because that's the thing is I can't hold it curved and look at it. Because I'd put it on the mannequin, but she doesn't have a head.
Yeah.
So it's just not the same. Okay, on the shoulder. Okay, I've got the front if you've got the back. Yeah, that looks cool. We'll do it like that. Did you see it? Oh, you can see it with your eyeball. Thank you, my love. He is so helpful, you guys. I'm just going to shamelessly promote his YouTube. If you guys want to go support Randy and all that he does, check him out on YouTube. He's Randy Vaughn. I guest over on his channel quite a bit. I don't know, he's awesome. He brought me my coffee this morning. Like, he's the best. He's the best. Okay. Sorry. Y'all are the best too, by the way. Watching my videos and being my friends and stuff. But Randy puts up with me when I'm hangry, so he gets bonus points. Okay, so now that I know what I'm doing with my life, hey Randy, I have another question.
What?
I have another question.
Oh.
Sorry, he's watching videos. Should I, like, that looked pretty good just sitting like that. Should I just rivet it directly?
How else would you do it?
Well, I cut out these little straps to try to do, like where this strap would be riveted there, and then I'd rivet this one to there. But I don't think I like it with that gap. I think I like it directly together.
Okay. Let's do it directly together.
Okay. He makes all of my decisions so much easier. Okay, so let's forget about those little straps, you guys. And now what I'm doing is I'm just going to come through and I'm going to do a rivet, boink and boink, right where my hands are. Bork, bork. I'm going to do this to the other side first. That looks pretty cool even just by itself, but I think it'll be extra, like extra, if I do the other one up top. Because look at, it's glistening, you guys. Okay. So now that we've gotten the first one out of the way, it's not nearly so scary to do the second one. But I'm still going to stay on my toes because if I mess this one up, then it's like double garbage. Double garbage all the way across the sky. So intense. Okay, so starting right at this point right here, and I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now I'm going to come to this part, and we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm also just gonna say real quick, if I were to be adding a fur hem to this, which I think would look amazing. Oh, but it's too late. I would have gone through just like how I did on the greaves. This would have been the layer that I would have attached the fur to and brushed it out to have this come down. Wouldn't that have looked amazing, Randy? I think it'll be fine since I'm wearing the full fur pauldrons underneath it, but I might make some in the future for like just selling out of the booth that have like a fur trim coming down. Oh my gosh. Brain blast. Okay, where's my hole punch at? There it is. Now I'm just going to come through and punch my holes on this one. Now, I've been using the medium rapid rivets. I may need to up it to the large on this one because this piece of leather is a little bit thicker. And that last piece that I was adding on, I don't know, they might be the same thickness. But just don't feel like that just because you use one size rivet on one side doesn't mean you can't, like, you don't have to stick to just that one size of rivet. As long as the cap is the same size, which they are, I mean, unless you go down to like the very small ones, all the caps are the same size. So it'll still look like it was the same thing, if that makes sense. Ouch. So now this one I'm just going to single load to make sure as I go that it only needs the medium rivets. Yep, that is correct. Okay. And if you ever mess up, you can come through and like gouge and all underneath there and cut the rivet off. So I mean, it's not the end of the world if you mess up. You just got to work around it. Yeah, it's getting a little thick over here. I don't know how the rivets will keep holding. So you can take it and you can test it. Yeah, they're holding. It's better that you test your work to its breaking point than the customer. I actually, Randy, I didn't tell you this, but I had a nightmare last night that I was competing at Tokyo and Tulsa. But all of the knot work on all just peeled off entirely from my whole outfit. Like the whole thing was just a decal, and it was like just plain leather underneath, right in front of the judges. And I was like, no, this is supposed to be happening. So I think I might be having some subconscious anxiety about using the acrylic medium. It does seem that way a little bit. Again, turning it off of the edge of my work surface. That way I've got some room to position my leather. And we'll place my setter and smack the crap out of it. There we go. Just like that.
Smite the crap out of it?
Smack the crap out of it. Smite it. I shall smite the leather armor. Yeah, that sounds pretty legit. Yeah, I'm going to have to go up to the larger ones. Oops, where'd you go? There you are. I'm just going to grab a pinch of them because there's no telling how much more frequently I will need them. But here you can see the difference between the medium rivets and the large rivets. So I mean, that's quite a bit of distance. Yeah, that's good. Because I try to not use rivets that are much longer than the thickness of my leather, because then they'll have this tendency to like buckle whenever I'm hammering. And I don't know, I just don't feel like that has as much integrity holding it together as if it had a nice clean connection. Also, another design element that's incorporated on this one is all of the rivets on the corset are an inch apart, so all the rivets on the pauldrons are like everything is spaced the same, and I feel like that really helps just reinforce the sense of continuity of it being a set, and I really like that. So So that might be something to keep in mind for your own work if you want to, you know, like everybody on your, you know, if you're cosplaying as a group, everybody might be wearing different armor in different colors, but if you have reoccurring themes like rivet spacing or the same shape of knotwork, even if it's just different patterns or different colors, you know, if it's still the same mix of curvy and pointy, you know, it's, you can make it look like a cohesive, like they all came from the same culture, or that their stuff was all smithed by the same artisan. You know, it's those details add a level of realism to the costumes that you know, I don't know, it makes a very subtle impact, I think. And those subtleties will add up until it's literally whacking you in the face with like, man, that's awesome. Or at least that's the goal. Okay. What's up there? Oh no. Why not? Is it inappropriate? Aww. Like, see there? This one, the rivet popped. So the cap's still set in there really well. But the rivet out the back, not so much. Like, they didn't make contact at all. So, good thing I've got these extra long rivets. Or just large. There we go. And I try to use a fresh rivet and a fresh stem every time. That way I make sure it fuses properly. I say fuse, but this is totally a cold closure. Like, there's no actual fusing of metal going on here. Making sure the backs are nice and smooth, especially with the warping, like the shaping that's going on here. I'm going to pull myself out a couple more of the large rapid rivets. And something too, that if you don't have large rapid rivets, there's a tool called a skiver that you can actually come through, skiver or skiver, I'm not certain, but you can come through and you can like shave down the thickness of the leather, I recommend, from the backside. And that way you can make it to where your rivet will fit. Sometimes I have to do that on our corsets when it's a real thick leather. And it's like, dude, the longest rivets I have won't even go through this. Dude, bruh, dude. Okay. Well, what good fortune is that? It's my last rivet to set, and it's the last rivet cap that I had pulled out. Okay. So there we go. Oh my gosh, you guys. Look at it. Oh my god. Okay, so I'm going to take a break real quick because I have to go read this. Randy's over there just giggling like a little girl. The tee-hee. But this is how it's coming along. I'll see you all very shortly. I'll be right back. Hey guys, I'm back. I got some food in me and changed our camera angle up a little bit, so now hopefully you guys will, you know, get an educational perspective of what's happening here. So excited about how these pauldrons are coming along by like a million. Okay, so we have these things here, and we're gonna be bringing them around to like and I'm trying to, sorry, I know I'm not completing actual sentences or anything, because I'm still debating. It's I don't know how this is going to evolve. Which one goes to which? Okay, so this one is the same shape as that. So this pauldron is going to be going here. And coming like down and around. I still feel like this needs like a nice healthy curve to it. Go grab it, what's that noise? So it's gonna be sitting like that. So I mean, I guess that's just gonna take a rivet on each corner. But I guess now let's look at the chest piece. This is the front. It's gonna be sitting here like this. I still think I should have a buckle that joins the shoulder to the chest piece. And I guess that will be at this point right here is where that join will happen. Or do I just rivet it all directly together? Like, I don't know. Like, because I guess I could do buckles joining the front and back together. So that's the thing too, guys, is I've never made something like this, so I don't really... I mean, if I did that, the back's gonna be sticking out all goofy, like such. Because I'm thinking if we just get the shoulders together, then we can kind of go from there. That's gonna be my theory. So let's go ahead and punch the holes to set the rivet to do the shoulders. So I'm grabbing our cutting board, sorry. I'm gonna be using the same hole punch that I've been using and losing this whole time. There you are. And I'm going to come in kind of equidistant from the corner. Punch. 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 And I'm going to punch kind of right on the join where these lines are joining up. Now, I'm not going to worry right now about adding any straps or anything. That's something that I can kind of, you know, we'll see how this evolves. Okay, so I'm going to feed the rivet through the back, through the top. Move this up out of the way. Dig out some rivet caps. Rivet, rivet. Position this and bring it off the edge. Whoop. Don't mean to slide everything. I'm going to bring it off the edge. Try to keep it reasonably lined up. There's that one. Bringing that through, bring this one over and around. Setting that cap. So it still has a little bit of mobility, like to shift around. That's how it's sitting. Oh my god, that looks so cool. So it's gonna sit like this on my shoulder. So there's one. I think I'm gonna have the buckle attach here and here, if that makes sense. Oh yeah, that looks so cool. Okay, getting my punching board again. Fortunately, this part, the assembly of all the pieces, goes by so much faster than, but like so much, than the actual making of the individual pieces. And I don't know why I don't experience the anxiety with the individual pieces that I do with assembling it, because it's like, that's when I'm doing the work that, you know, may or may not pay off. But I guess it's because I'm so focused on doing that work that it's like, what? What? But I'm having so much fun with this. There's that one. There we go. Unpunch. Okay, so now as it bends around, it's really going to hold that nice kind of shape. And so, like in that rune work, just flashing. Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah, okay. Hey Randy, will you look at beefcake?
Those are awesome.
You like them? Wonder how it'd be. No, they're not particularly great for boobs. Sorry, you don't know unless you try. I don't know, maybe if I were like quadruple J's or something. Yeah, okay. Don't ever hesitate to put anything on your head or on your boobs when you're making stuff, because you never know how it might look. Words of wisdom. If I could go back and tell my younger self, 9 years ago, don't feel weird, just do it. You'll have so many clever ideas. So everything's a hat if you wear it on your head. Which sounds ridiculous, but like seriously though. Okay, so the way that I'm going to do this is the buckle side is going to be attached here, and the strap side is going to be attached here, so that we'll be able to have it layered up however far we need it to. So I'm going to do the buckle ends first. Where'd my buckles go? There my buckles go. So I have 4 of these like carriage buckles. What I really like about these is they have the belt keeper kind of on the other side. So like whenever you feed your strap through, it'll come up from this side and then back down to this side and like get held there, which keeps like floppy straps from flopping. I'm gonna be using a medium brown professional water stain. Oh, let me tidy these rivets up. I made a mess, but I always do that. Now also these buckles, the inside dimension is at like a like 7/8 of an inch, but I'm going to cut the leather to 3/4 or 6/8 of an inch, if that makes more sense to you. Got to reduce those fractions, y'all. So I'm only gonna need like real short little straps for this. So I'm gonna use the thin straps that I was going to use for assembling the plates of the pauldron. Hey camera, you wanna focus? Thank you. So let me assemble my pieces. I am going to be using, are you in here? No. An end punch to get things nice and rounded, right? Which I have 2 to select from, one larger and one smaller. And then this little number that punches a nice oblong hole. That'll be good. Okay. So I'm actually gonna come through. Which one can I use? This one will be perfect. Because you can see that little bit of overlap there on the edges. Yeah, I could use this one, but it's gonna give me a much shorter, I want to capture as much of that shape as I can. And you can make your own templates for this and just cut it out with a knife. I've just found that for as much as I make this stuff, it was totally worth the investment for the tools. That way I can just get consistent results with minimal effort each time. I've already gone through and used my handy dandy edge beveler to bevel the edges of all the straps. Ooh, I better move my coffee or I'm gonna get leather in it. And over here should be okay. So I got dog fur and everything on it. So now I'm going to measure out 3/4 of an inch with my wing divider. And right where, if you line up the point as the center and then these corners as a crossbar, that's right where I'm going to put my first hole. If you can see that little dot that I made. Right there. And then I'm going to come in by 3/4 of an inch. And so those are going to be my 2 rivet holes, because I really like a nice secure buckle. If you just do 1 hole, the buckle's gonna like swivel around on you, whereas if you do 2 holes, it's gonna stay in line with where it's at. And to me, that's very important. And now from there, I'm gonna go ahead and do this on this side of the tip, just the tip, of each of these straps. I'm going to bring my measurement down to just 1/2 an inch. Which I think is like 13 or 14 millimeters, I'm not certain. And just come in and mark that there. And now I'm going to use this punch that does a nice long oblong. If you don't have one of these, you could use like a 1/4 inch, not 1/4 inch, that's way too big, like 1/8 inch punch about an inch apart from each other, and then use a knife to cut down. I'm going to line up with that hole that I punched, or hole that I marked. Get a nice good clean. My goal here is to keep this as lined up, like parallel to the sides of the strap as possible. I really need to get higher a bench so that way my arm doesn't have to. It's just loud. Okay. So there we go. And it'll make you all these interesting little like hot dog shaped little cutouts. that you can save them and drill a real small hole in them and use them as like a fringe piece or embroider with them. I mean, do whatever you want. You can make your own beads and stuff. So it's still set at 1/2 inch. I'm going to come in from the back edge of this long hole I just punched. And I'm going to bring this back out to 3/4 inch. And I'm going to mark a hole. So you can kind of see how those are coming out. All those little holes marked. I'm going to use my end punch to try to line it up as much as I can. And so this is what we're ending up with. Just a little buckle holder. There we go. Okay. Now is the time that I am going to stain them, because I can punch those 2 holes on each side, but they're going to have rivets in them, so they don't need stain in them. So I can just save myself the trouble. I'm going to grab the same piece of parchment paper I've been using and reusing for like the past couple of projects. I like to kind of just wrap my cutting board on the front and back end. It kind of gives me a nice work surface. Let me dig out the same gloves I've been wearing. And this is the same sponge I've been using for my medium brown. I don't even bother rinsing it out anymore. I just have that sponge for that color. And then every so often, like if it's been a while, I'll wash all my brushes. Like I'll leave them to soak, you know, to really break up all the, you know, penetrate all the pigments, and then rinse them out. But I'll still try to keep them with the same color schemes. Like I don't like using a sponge that I've used for my reds on like a green, because there's no telling how that might influence that. And I had a little color palette thingy. There it is. So I'm going to shake up our dye. And this is a water-based stain, but it has a really nice waxy consistency. That's great for, I don't know, it penetrates and finishes, it shines up really well. I really like this stuff. And I'm just coming through, trying to not waste any of it if I can help it. Just kind of brushing it on very generously though, onto the leather. That way it'll penetrate just real nice. And right now you can see it's not really getting down into any of the nooks and crannies yet. I just want to get a first layer on before I start globbing it. And also experiment a bit. Wet leather dyes a little bit differently than dry leather does. So don't hesitate to use a lot of these like little scrap pieces and get them wet and see what happens. So now that I've gotten it mostly done, I'm going to really push the sponge down and in to get that inside area. I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to stain the back as well. Because even though this piece is going to be folded up on itself, it's just, I don't know, I feel like it's good to be thorough. And if there's any risk of like something not overlapping perfectly, it'll be, you know, less obvious if you don't have your white, you know, for lack of a better term, wrong side of your fabric showing through to the other side. Just get it nice and rubbed all over. dye. Unless I'm doing a mix, I'll just dabble out just a little bit at a time. But sometimes, like, you can blend your medium brown with your light brown and get a medium light brown or a lighter medium brown, or whatever you want to call it. It's like, but there's nothing in this world stopping you. Now, I have not had as good of success with mixing water-based and oil-based dyes, but if you're sitting around and you feel like you want to see what it does, don't take my word for it. Go experiment, see what happens. Send me pictures. Just finishing off the edges. There we go. Okay. I just like to wipe out the well to make sure that I'm not wasting any of the dye. Doing just a little bit more thorough application. And so these are our little straps. I'm going to kind of get a little bit of movement going on in the straps here, just to make sure they don't dry like crunchy or something. And so while these guys are drying, I am going to show you guys how to cut the straps for the loop that will be feeding through, you know, what the buckle will be attaching to. You can only get so many uses out of these gloves, but I try to get as many as I can. So I'm going to try to pick like a little bit of a thinner leather maybe, but I don't seem to have any thinner leathers. Okay. So I'm just getting a feel for some of them, seeing how they're laying. I really like this one here. It's a nice long one. It looks like it got some like stain spilled on it or something. And it looks like I have two pieces from the same leather. And so what I'm going to do here to get a nice straight line, so I'm actually just going to chop off some of the points that's like I know I'm not going to be using. I can use that for like scrap later. And I've got a ruler here, a straight edge. And I'm going to pick one side, and I've got my box knife, very sharp, out and ready. And I'm just going to try my best to establish a straight line. And these could be the only two things that you need to cut the straps for your leather, but I really enjoy using a strap cutter, and I've got it set to 3/4 of an inch, which is perfect for what we're doing here. And you go along this straight edge that you've just established, and you just kind of feed it through. I don't know if you heard that, but that's it getting started. And I try to keep this snug up against the straight side of the tool. And there's a strap. Way less margin for error than with the box knife. And again, I got it started. It's a little narrower than it needs to be up here, but I'll just keep that in mind. There's two straps and some scrap. As easy as that, y'all. So I'm going to do the same thing over here on this one. And it's really important to establish a very straight, clean line, because if you don't, this isn't going to make you a very straight, clean line. So don't want to just keep recutting the same line, so I'm just going to snip that with the scissors. And just feed this in. I really like using this tool on a stiff leather because if it's too soft, you're not going to be able to push it through as well. You might need to like put a little cut in it to get it started. Boom, another strap. It's like with leather working, it helps so much to have the right tool to do the job. But yeah, so this one you can see it's a little soft there. It's bunching up funny. So I'm just going to take it and I'm just going to cut. Got myself like a centimeter of start space there. Maybe. Get in the flask. There it goes. So I'm just kind of cramming it through until... That's so frustrating. But it's okay. You just get a bigger hammer and keep going. So I've cut it enough that it'll feed it through to basically the other side. Again, trying to keep it nice and straight, parallel to the straight line we just did. Haha. So now once it's feeding through to the other side, you can actually like take hold of it and pull it through. But yeah, that's why I was having trouble, is look at how thin of a strip that's taking off. Okay, so there we go. We now have 4 straps that are way longer than what we need them to be. But that's okay, because we can trim them down. I'm going to use my same little punch here, which you'll notice is 3/4 of an inch. It's like they were made for each other. There we go. Okay. So now on these ones, just the nature of the piece on the tip that, like the tip that's going to be sitting here is going to be riveted. They're going to be attached right there. So I'm going to want to do 2 rivets side by side, and then the rest of this is just going to be sitting there because that's what the buckle will be buckling onto. So I'm going to take my wing divider. It's set at 3/4 of an inch, which I think is perfect. And so I'm just going to mark 2 little dots to denote where the rivets are going to be. And I'm going to go ahead and punch these with the 3/32 punch that I've been using for all of my rivets. And like I mentioned before, if I only did 1 hole for rivets, it would give me a lot more movement and swing, which might be a design element that you want to keep in mind, but it also just flat out might not be as well. Okay, there we are. So now from here, we can continue. I don't imagine needing more than 5 inches of adjustment. So I'm just marking some holes now, keeping them equidistant, still at the 3/4 inch. And I'm marking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know that's not quite 5 inches, but I think 5 inches is going to be way too generous anyways. So now I'm just going to keep feeding through. Okay. And I think it's gonna happen is on this 5th dot. That's where I'm gonna line up the tip of my punch and punch you. One punch. Sorry, if y'all didn't watch that anime, I highly recommend it. It's very good. It's on Netflix. Now I should be keeping some of these little tabs because these, they seem like they might be too short, but there's no telling what you could use them for, you guys. Now these guys are still just, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put these to have them heat up faster, or dry faster, is put them next to the exhaust vent on my computer. Just that warm air kind of blowing past them should do the trick. Okay, so now, there's a thing called a spot that looks like a rivet on the surface, but on the back side you can tell it is purely only decorative. I'm going to be doing spots on the tips of all of these, and honestly I should probably go through and do them on the belt as well, instead of just having loose little tips there. So we will come to that, but in the meantime I'm going to use my 5/32. No, that's not going to be the one that I use. I'm going to use my 3/16 inch hole punch to punch the holes for threading my belt through, like the little buckle. And honestly, I probably could have gone with the 5/32, but hey guys, so I lost a ton of footage, like at least an hour's worth of footage. So at the point of recording, I've not gone back and done any editing and seen where we left and saw where we left off together. So I'm just gonna kind of start talking to y'all, and this is how excited I am about this costume right now, is that I'm not even as upset as I could be about losing the footage, because look at this costume, my guys. Oh my gosh. And from the back, yes. So, and I mean, it's gonna look silly over the tie-dye, but check it. Like, instant transformation of epicness. So yeah, Randy, this gives you an idea of how it sits over my underbust. Or over my bralette, rather. Which even that, between the two, there's still a little bit of exposure, like right there. But I think it'll layer over the scale top really well. Now, I don't like how this protrudes out like that. So what I'm going to be doing, and what hopefully I'll be able to get on video, like I didn't realize I was recording onto my SD card is what happened. So now we're not recording to the SD card because apparently it's garbage. But I'm going to be cutting a very long strap from this piece of scrap that I'm going to have buckle to like here and here, maybe. I'm trying to figure out where I should attach the buckles to. I think it's going to be like right here and right here. Like they're the same little buckles that, there was a whole process. Like y'all can see there's some buckles in the back. But I ended up cutting the ones off of the front and just riveting it on directly. But I might be able to put the buckles like right here and have that buckle to a strap that will come around. I want the strap to come off of each side of just down here on the point. That way it'll actually hold it snug to my skin. Like snug to my back rather. As opposed to, you know, if gravity. As opposed to if I'm moving around a lot and stuff, this is just flapping loose and it bulks me up a little bit more. I want to be broad shouldered this way and not this way, if that makes sense. So let's start messing around with that. So excited. And you guys, this looks amazing on Randy too. Like, I am just stoked. So I'm finding a yardstick. Nice long metal yardstick. I prefer to use the metal ones because they don't get cut into by my razor blade as badly. And I'm gonna need to keep it set at 3/4 of an inch. And now that, because I thought I was gonna be able to cut one long strip, but if it's coming down in a V here in the back, I don't necessarily need one long continuous strip. I can have it overlap right there and like join. So let's see what we can accomplish here then with our strap cutter. With already you can see I was cutting some straps off of this obviously. Yeah, it's still set to the right setting. Trying to get it started. It's really hard when the leather's soft. And sometimes you just gotta take it, give yourself a little bit more of a point. So it's not getting bunched up on anything. There we go. Just do whatever it ends up you need to do to get the job done. Okay, so now I'm just gonna back out kind of because I don't want to cut into a bunch of other usable leather. So that's one nice long strap that will reach around. I'm going to angle this down so you guys can see a little better. Okay, so I'm coming back in with our strap cutter. Getting it started. And I'm just going to go ahead and snip this right there. There we go. So I think that'll be super good. Put this yardstick away since I really don't need it. So fortunately I'm going to be doing, well, I don't know if it's fortunately or unfortunately yet, but I'm going to be doing a lot of the same stuff to these straps that I had done to the other ones that it just ended up not working out, which is depressing, so I'm not going to think about it. Pull in my granite slab. Put everything over here. I'm going to use my same little, I got a 3/4 inch end punch, just lining it up. Okay, so now from here, these guys are probably going to go on just like this and get riveted underneath. That way it'll come around and kind of like hug it onto my back. So let's see, how much am I really going to need? Because I don't want so much that there's like strap flapping up here, you know? But it looks like I should only need to like right here. Testing the length. Well, that's what I'm working with. Just marking my fingernail. One of the straps came out just a good bit shorter than the other, by about 6 inches. So that's establishing the length because I do want it to be symmetrical. There's that. Got my edge beveler, so now I'm going to come through And I like to be able to take it off in one big, long, nice strip, but if you have to do it in a bunch of little ones, go for it. And I'm going to be doing this edge beveling on both sides, front and back, along the full lengths of both straps. Bootstraps. Sorry. Hey Randy, could I trouble you for a cup of coffee? Just remember. So here we are now. I've got all the holes punched. using medium brown EcoFlow Professional Water Stain. It's a water-based stain. And the same little high-density sponge that I use for staining everything in this color. And I'm putting it on pretty liberally over where the holes are, because I want it to get down into all of those little nooks and crannies. Pro tip here, whenever I'm piecing together something, instead of going through the cycle that I went through a little earlier today of setting rivets, ripping out rivets, setting rivets, ripping them out, trying to figure out, what works, there are these really handy dandy things called paper brads that are in no means a permanent solution, but they are an excellent temporary tester of whether or not your concept is going to work. That's how I like to piece together a lot of my prototypes. And earlier today I just got, for the only thing I can figure is that I got very arrogant and was like, I got this, and then I clearly did not got this. There was no getting of the, it was horribly wrong. So I dug out my old box of paper brads, and the good news is that they're reusable. But you just kind of stack them on the way that you would if you were putting it on a rivet, and then you open that brad right up to try to hold it on there. Should probably let those dry a little longer. I'm going to dig out a couple of binder clips, if we have any handy, to try to clip on the buckles to see if that'll work. So I'll be right back. Okay guys, so I'm back, and I have our paper brad in the armor, and I don't know which side it's going to cut. I guess it doesn't really matter. But this is going to come around, and I could only find one binder clip, and I've lost it already. There it is. So I wanted this to kind of sit like right there, I guess. So I'm going to come in with this binder clip. And try to like clamp it to make sure that it works. Make sure there's no twists. And the little join that's coming up here from the back is gonna hook like right around my back boobs. Yes, that's what I call them. I guess the back side of my rib cage. And then this side would come up and sit just like right there. Nice and even. Y'all, I think that's going to work out perfectly. I mean, obviously it's going to take more than a binder clip to hold this in. But I think this is going to work. Okay. Remove said binder clip. And I mean, it unbuckles in the back. It's already been established. I am not going to be able to get in and out of this by myself. Poor Randy is always going to be stuck taking care of me, I think. But hopefully it won't be too rough on him. All right, on. I'll be down here. I'll holler at you when dinner's ready. So I'm going to go ahead and just remove the straps. I'll need to find the other buckle. I don't think I threw it earlier, but I was quite agitated. There it is. There's just a big old piece of metal sticking out of this one still. Oops. There we go. Okay, so it looks like I'm going to need 3 rivets. Probably 1 in the long, 2 in the medium, and then 1, 2, 3 caps. Okay. Okay. So here's our long one. I'm gonna layer on through 1 strap. I'm gonna angle this down so you guys can see what's going on. What's going on? So say, hey, yeah, 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 hey, yeah, yeah. Said, hey, what's going on? No. And see, I'm really glad I tested it first because I put that one on backwards. And I pray, oh my God, do pray. I pray every single day for revolution. Ooh. Now there's still a little bit of mobility here, like that rivet's set, but the leather still kind of wrenches around some. Now I have not punched the holes for the buckles yet. I think right there will be good. Oh my God, pray every single day. Now, actually, am I gonna need? No. Okay. Sorry, I was thinking I might have needed one of the extra long ones. That remains to be seen. No, they should do me pretty good. Oh my God, do it. I'm just gonna have to whack the crap out of it, as a person do. Every single day for a revolution. And yes, as I sing this, I am picturing He-Man hanging with Skeletor. That is totally what's happening in my head right now. No denying it. Okay, let's try this on. Okay guys, over the head, got buckles, they're sitting, gotta reach around behind me, get my straps down. Okay, so they're splitting off one in each direction. I think I can do it on the fourth, and this little strappy bit that's coming up, let me get this side cinched in too, and then I'll show you how I'm going to tuck away the straps. 4. So now as the straps come up and through, I'm actually just going to fold them under and tuck them in so that they do not exceed the little bottom part. But I think that takes care of that. Definitely holds it down into place a little bit more. I mean, this comes up, honestly, I need these like curved up a little bit, but I think for the decorative purposes of this costume, I think this will be more than fine. The shaping has really helped. Y'all, this is so cool. I'm going to angle it up a little bit more and test and make sure that I can actually do some staff spinning in this. Because I'm finding it's becoming increasingly difficult. Where to go? Go on. Good boy. Okay, so behind the head passes are going to be difficult because of the pauldron, but I think other than that, and this is just a regular piece of PVC pipe, but it's about the same external diameter as the staff I carry with the costume. Oh, y'all, I'm so excited. Now this back part here where you can see my bralette underneath, that's going to be filled in with like fur, because we're still going to have the fur shoulders up on here. So cool. Oh my god. Okay, I'm done making funny faces at myself in the camera. So let me know what you guys think. Like, you know, I love hearing from you. Do you like how the design, I mean, it looks silly over my tie-dye, but whenever I've got like the scale bra and the corset, I mean, all the different pieces coming together. Oh, so exciting. Wow, much cosplay. So yeah, oh boy. Okay. Yeah, if you have any questions, comments, or ideas, please leave them down below. There'll be links to where you can purchase a lot of the different tools and materials, the glass cabochons, the wire, the dies and different things down in the video description below, as well as a link to my Patreon. If you guys enjoy my free tutorials and my Let's Plays and like all the different stuff, it feels like I'm keep going lopsided. I don't know. I'm going to wear it while I cook dinner and see what happens. But if you guys enjoy my tutorials and would like to support the creation of more of them, as well as participate in my fairy house giveaways and like get like loot crates and stuff mailed to you every month, please consider becoming a patron. Otherwise, if you don't want to pledge but you still want to keep up to date, you can follow me on there or on Facebook or Instagram. Like, all of the stuff I function under is Back to Earth Creations. So thanks you guys so much for hanging out with me. I'm gonna go cook some rice in my new armor. So bye.